Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
With less than 48 hours before Friday's deadline, we are one step closer to avoiding a government shutdown. The Senate has just approved a short-term spending bill. I'm Mark Liverman, and I'll tell you what that means for President Trump's border wall hopes.
And a local business is dealing with some racial comments on social media. We'll show you how the community is responding.
Just ahead of 6:30 on this Thursday, Chet Lehman, Missy O'Malley with you. We'll have that story in just a moment. Carson Vickroy has our forecast, but right now our top story, we are actually one step closer to avoiding a government shutdown. Short-term spending bill has made its way through the U.S. Senate.
However, it does not allow any new money for President Trump's promised border wall. CBS's Mark Liverman has our latest.
With just 48 hours to go before a partial government shutdown, the Senate approved a short-term spending bill late Wednesday night.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion is agreed to.
Later today, the House will vote on the bill, which will keep the government open until February. If it passes there, the bill will go to the White House for the president's signature. He hasn't publicly weighed in on the plan, which will not have the $5 billion he's asked for to build a border wall. It would, though, fund border security at its current level of $1.3 billion.
I'm sorry that my Democratic colleagues couldn't put the partisanship aside and show the same good faith flexibility that the president has shown in order to provide the resources our nation needs to secure the integrity of our borders.
On Wednesday, Mr. Trump tweeted, quote, "One way or the other, we will win on the wall." The White House says lawyers are reviewing other possible ways to come up with the money.
The House and Senate will not approve a wall from reprogrammed funds or anything else. It won't happen.
Last week, the president said he would be proud to shut down the government over his demand for the wall. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
Now, the president has said Mexico will end up paying for the wall indirectly thanks to the negotiated North America Free Trade Deal, a claim critics insist is not true. Congress has yet to approve the new trade agreement.
6:31 now. Meteorologist Carson Vickroy joins us. Lots of clear skies this morning. We've had some windy conditions, and it sounds like ultimately that's going to blow a little change our direction here in the next few hours.
I see what you did there.
Did you?
But yes, I mean, you are right about the wind.
Yeah.
And winds will be picking up to the east of Livingston today. That's why we're under this wind advisory. 55 to 65 mile per hour winds can be expected, which could cause hazardous travel if you are heading east to either Big Timber or Billings. So keep an eye on that. Make sure you drive carefully. Temperatures are in the teens, 20s, and 30s at this hour, with clouds starting to move in. We're not going to see the snow or rain today. We will have highs in the upper 30s and lower 40s for Bozeman, starting in the 20s this morning. Similar story for Butte. Temperatures in the teens to start, but we will be around 40 this afternoon, which will make for another mild day. But that changes coming up in my extended forecast. Chet, Missy?
Thanks, Carson. 6:32 now. Our top local story. Curry Express in Belgrade, a well-known Indian restaurant here in the Gallatin Valley.
Absolutely, one of my favorite restaurants.
Sure.
And the owners took to Facebook recently and shared an offensive message that was recently exchanged between an owner and a Belgrade man. MTN's Emma Hamilton has our details.
The Singhs posted a video of their lunch buffet, and Richard Suttles decided to comment. Suttles said, quote, "He was going to puke." The owners responded to not be disrespectful and have some manners. Suttles said, quote, "Your race is an insult to the earth. You come here and get a handout and don't do manual labor here, but make a killing off of our tax dollars." He then went on to use an explicit. Over 100 shares and 300 comments later on Facebook, and the community in the Gallatin Valley is really showing their disapproval of Suttles' comment. The Singhs say they were not only heartbroken by Suttles' comment, but have also become nervous for their safety.
It scares us because he might also have other people who with him, like I said, birds of a feather flock together. They may not be outside wearing a t-shirt that, hey, I'm racist, but the thoughts are there.
This isn't something the couple have ever experienced directly.
People love to think about Bozeman as a very welcoming community, as very down to earth and people helping one another. And there is a lot of that. But Bozeman is also like any other city, a suburb, small town, rural area in Montana and in any other state, racism, bigotry, and prejudice does exist. Discrimination is here.
The Singhs also have concerns for other minorities in the community.
And it's not just scary for us, it's just that the thought that prevails there that might be scary for other ethnic groups also, other ethnic community. This happened to us, it could happen to anybody else. They're Chinese, they're Japanese, there are few African Americans here, there are very few Indians here, you know, Mexicans are here.
One Curry Express customer and Belgrade resident was shocked and angry to see this happening right before her eyes, but wasn't happy with how some responded publicly to Suttles.
There were a couple people that made some hateful comments back to him, and I just would write back, just kind of responding, hey, like, hate is not the way to answer this.
I'm proud to be an American, you know, I'm proud to be in this country, I'm a proud citizen.
In Belgrade, Emma Hamilton, MTN News.
Now, we did reach out to Richard Suttles for his comment, and he has not responded.
Treasure State headlines this morning. Police in Helena say a man shot and killed his estranged wife before killing himself. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports on what investigators say led up to that incident.
The disturbance began Tuesday evening at the woman's home on the 1100 block of Hauser Boulevard. Helena police say several children and other adults were there for a birthday party when the woman's estranged husband arrived. Witnesses told officers the man pulled out a handgun and ordered people to leave. The others at the party ran out of the house.
People left the house. That's when we believe he went out and shot the female and then shot himself.
Medical units responded to treat both individuals, but they were found to be deceased. Police say no one else was injured in the incident.
Well, it's very tragic. I mean, you have families involved, other people involved. The neighborhood up there was very concerned about what's going on. We did our best to, canvass the neighborhood and let people know what was happening, that everything was safe.
Chief Troy McGee said police are still investigating whether there was a history of domestic violence or protection orders involving this family. They are also looking to speak to more witnesses.
There's still quite a few things that we have to do to ensure what our preliminary investigation shows is what occurred.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
In other news, here on your Thursday morning, a University of Montana Western football player pleaded not guilty on Tuesday to felony account of sexual intercourse without consent. Defensive back Kyron Allen is accused of having forced sexual contact with a woman in Dillon back in October. He was arrested on a warrant on November 2nd in Beaverhead County after the woman reported the alleged assault. Allen remains on free bond.
Also, 3 people were arrested in Butte Tuesday, suspected in a string of burglaries and thefts. Police say Carl Tanner, Joseph Wandler, and Jessica Melanson there were arrested in connection with an attempted burglary at a business in Rocker. Investigators discovered they were also involved in a burglary at a Butte home on Maryland Street last week. Police say they may have been involved in other crimes as well.
We also found some credit cards on them that belonged to another theft that we were investigating from October, I believe. So they are involved in several thefts in the area.
3, by the way, remain in jail this morning. So that's it. I'm going to shift gears here to something really fascinating.
I'm
Technology
so excited
is a big deal.
for this story.
That's a fact. Bionic limbs controlled by the mind.
This is fascinating. New technology is being developed in Boston, and it's giving amputees newfound mobility. Dr. Malika Marshall has our story.
These smart limbs being developed at MIT are possible because of the Ewing amputation. The procedure developed between MIT and Brigham and Women's Hospital protects the nerves and muscles so the limb can continue to communicate with the brain.
When we did our first human patient and we put the bionic limb on him and we saw natural movements emerging through the mechatronics in natural ways, it was truly exhilarating.
MIT professor Hugh Herr helped develop the surgery and is leading development of the robotic limbs. He's also a double amputee himself.
It's sort of like an extension of your body.
Rebecca Mann, a Ewing amputee, tried out the robotic leg.
Pretending I'm pointing and flexing my foot, and I feel my foot pointing and flexing.
Brandon Corona injured his leg in Afghanistan and became the first veteran to have the Ewing amputation.
Being able to kind of have something that I can control with my mind still, even though my foot's not there, it brings everything full circle.
He's now training to run the Boston Marathon in 2020. And this September, Rebecca and Brandon ran the Falmouth Road Race with fellow amputee Tammy Jerome.
We started together, we finished it together, and we pushed each other to be able to do it.
This group was brought together through the Stepping Strong Center, created at the Brigham by the family of marathon bombing survivor Jillian Rennie.
It's a wonderful experience as a researcher to put a robot on their leg and they walk away and start crying or laughing.
The grants awarded by Stepping Strong are part of what made the Ewing amputation possible, paving the way for the future of prosthetics. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Cambridge.
Now, one of the next steps in the prosthetics project at MIT is designing new sockets, improving the communication between amputation and that robotic limb.
I love
What a cool story.
Technology in action. It's phenomenal.
I just love it.
I do too.
Just the constant improvements. It's incredible.
Absolutely amazing.
Very cool. It is time for a quick break. In a moment, we head to the mining city and one of the most historic neighborhoods that no longer really exists and how they're celebrating it over the holidays.
But first, we're going to head to New York, check in with Nora O'Donnell, see what's coming up at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning, and ahead here on CBS This Morning, a record number of travelers will drive to their holiday destinations. We're on the road with what's expected to be the busiest driving day of the long weekend. Plus, we'll have your travel forecast. And Gail's conversation with legendary singer Cher. The recent Kennedy Center honoree reveals why she's free on stage ahead of what she claims to be her final tour. Say it isn't so. See you right at 7.